Okay, hi everyone, my name is Kate Oleska, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to paint an eye in oils. And we're going to start by doing a very simple thing, which is toning our canvas with a layer of wash that is going to tint the canvas. Doesn't seem like a very important thing, but it actually is, because white canvas can be really intimidating, and it can make it a lot harder to judge values. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to tint the canvas. For that you're going to need a little bit of burnt umber and an oil medium. Sorry, I'm going to try to put it here. A little bit of oil low odor thinner. And just as if I were using it with any kind of water-soluble paints, I'm going to use a little bit of thinner, taking it from a cup. Don't put your brush straight into the thinner, just use a small container. Now I'm going to use this Sablette, I don't know how to pronounce it, Sablette wash brush, and I'm going to use it to tint the canvas. Alright, so on my palette, can't really show you my palette right now, but I bet you can imagine I'm just putting a little bit of thinner and I'm mixing it with the wash. Doesn't have to be that dark, you can thin it down more. Doesn't have to be pretty. The whole idea is to have a dark area. I'm not even using the whole canvas, I'm just kind of doing it for your benefit. I'm using a bit of my canvas. See, you can make it prettier by just smoothing it out like this, but later on it's not really gonna matter. This is just going to be a sketch. Plus, if you're painting on a bigger painting, if it's not just the eye that you're painting, you can tone down the whole canvas and you're eventually going to cover it up. It's literally just to give you an idea of a darker surface other than white, because if you have a lot of white, then when you put paint onto the canvas, it might seem like it's dark enough, but then if you fill the canvas with other values, with other colors, the white or the value that seemed dark is going to look totally different. It's gonna look way lighter because it only seemed so dark against the white canvas. So that's the main reason why we tone the canvas, so that we can judge values properly. And values, just as a reminder, are darks and lights, and all, if you put your colorful painting in a grayscale mode, so if you took a black and white photo, you'd see the range of values from the darkest ones to the lightest ones. So there you go, and the next step, we're gonna sketch in the eye. Alright guys, so in the second part we are going to sketch the eye and just the outlines. For that I'm going to be using a spotter brush, so a quite tiny brush. Still the burnt umber mixed with a tiny bit this time, of the oil medium, which in this case is odorless thinner. And I'm just going to sketch the outside of the eye, the whole anatomy. But what you need to remember is that the eye is really a round ball, and I encourage you to Google and see the anatomy of the eye. And also you have to remember that not only all people or different people have different shapes of eyes and eyelids and eyebrows, but also each eye can, or the same eye can look different depending on what the person's doing, or where they're looking, which direction, because the cornea, so the dome that's on top of your iris, it is more, it is a dome on the ball. So basically, if you move your eye, this little dome is moving along with your iris, and it also lifts the top or bottom eyelid a little bit. So it can also change the shape of the eye. I'm gonna show you how to draw a very simple eye. I have a reference, but you can just take a reference of anyone's eye, really. I'm starting by painting in the shape of the eye within the eyelids. And this eye is quite regular, so the eye is looking forward. Then you have the part where the top eyelid is sinking in, so that's where the first shadow is going to form. Because really, when you look at the eye itself is going to have, I'm going to kind of paint it sideways, we can paint over it in a minute. This is the shape of the eye, because the eye is a big round ball, and then this flap of skin, which is the top eyelid, is also bulging a little bit, and then you have a small bulge that kind of goes like this, going here. I'm just going to make a little mark just for myself to see where the shadows more or less are gonna end on this eye. And I actually painted this a little bit too much down, so this eyelid is probably gonna be like that. We're gonna correct a couple of those things probably later on. The sketch is very fast, but I am also trying to observe some of the little details. We usually have this little shadow here because the eyelids just are not just cut out all the way around. They're kind of separate entities. The top eyelid is almost round, but it also, because of how the top of your eye, the part of your the part of the skin or the part of your eye socket forms, and where it reaches the eyebrow, it has its shape as well, and it's a little bit different here than here, because this is where the nose starts. This is a left or, well, it's a left eye. This is where the tear duct is. I'm also just drawing it very in a big block of blob, and I'm gonna use the shape later, or find the shape later. This is where the eyebrows start. Don't rush it. I'm kind of talking and observing at the same time, so it's a little bit harder, but I'm just trying to block in everything. You have to also remember is that both top and bottom eyelid, they are thick. So later on, when I'm going to show you how to paint eyelashes, they never start straight from here. They straight a little bit lower down, and they never start straight at the line where the eyelid meets the eye, never. So you have to pay attention to such details. You have to see that, for example, this part of an eyelid kind of surrounds the eye duct, and then this part of the eye right underneath, it kind of sinks down, sinks down in comparison to this part of a nose. This is the part of the skin that already starts forming the nose, because the nose would already be here. And this is where the iris is. It's quite important to get it right in terms of how big it is in relation to the rest of the eye. It can't be too big, it can't be too small. At this point, you know, you can still paint over and change the shape of your eye. And if you're wondering where to get the eye reference, I'm painting my own eye. And I'm not even going to be that specific and bothered if I don't get the likeness. I'm more worried about whether or not it's anatomically correct. Always remember that all those little shapes, they catch a shadow from the ones that are above, and they also catch or have shadow over them, or they form shadows on other elements of your eye, like for example this eyelid, because, you know, as I said, it has its thickness. It will most likely form a shadow over your eye. And later on, when we start blocking in colors and when we start putting in details, we're going to have highlights of all sorts. I usually don't really do that, but just to show you, I'm just going to very fast block in a couple of very basic shadows. I photographed an eye that actually has makeup on it, so it is, oh sorry, I just moved the camera. So it is going to be a little bit darker on the top lid. I'm going to try to take it into consideration. Alright, so that's the first sketch. And when it dries up a little bit, you can probably see this line is very thick. I know which way, because in the sketch sometimes we put too many lines, and we start wondering which one's the right one. I already know that I'm going to have to go in a little bit in a slightly different shape, but I'm going to fix it when I actually start blocking the colors, and you'll see how it goes later on. Okay, so let's just wait until it dries.